During World War II, nearly 80% of Soviet men born in the year 1923 lost their lives. During Prohibition in the USA, bootleggers frequently stole industrial alcohol, leading authorities to intentionally poison the supply. This federal program resulted in the deaths of at least 10,000 people by 1933. Sacks filled with women's hair shorn from victims before they were burned in the crematoriums at Auschwitz concentration camp, February 1945. This is an invitation ticket for the launch ceremony of the Titanic in Northern Ireland in 1911. A 1924 USA photo features the dummy of ventriloquist Lester, who was accused of killing 3 people. Allegedly, 3 elderly women died of laughter during his performance. A London family heads to the pool in 1938 carrying gas masks along with their swimwear, symbolizing the anticipation of war. A spectacular view of thousands of carpets laid out to dry in the open air in Tehran, Iran, 1972. A camp for Palestinian refugees located in Jordan, 1969. In 1961, East Berlin border guards raised the height of the Berlin Wall by installing additional barbed wire to stop Soviet bloc residents from attempting to escape into Germany. A 1994 photo from Rwanda by Annie Leibovitz shows bloody footprints where victims tried to climb walls to escape genocide. A man stands amidst giant plants on the island of Maui, Hawaii in 1924. Titled, "True Love Lasts Forever," this image shows a kiss dating back 6,000 years, discovered during construction work in Iran in 1972. Robert Corder during the testing of his invention, a jetpack, in the USA in 1969. This is a 1990s mugshot of corrupt LAPD officer Rafael Perez, who was linked to the Bloods, drug theft, shootings, and the murder of the notorious B.I.G. He inspired the character in Denzel Washington's Training Day. This heartbreaking image, taken by Duncan Cameron in the Northumberland Strait in 1969, shows the brutality of seal hunting. The photo led many countries to ban Canadian fur imports, and the Canadian Prime Minister at the time admitted that this single image created a negative perception of Canada globally. A local lost and found office in Rome, 1964, featuring shelves stacked with lost umbrellas, raising the question of how an owner could possibly identify theirs among the abundance. A photograph showing the sale of nuclear fallout shelters in Los Angeles, 1961. A storage warehouse piled high with shoes belonging to the victims of the Auschwitz concentration camp, Poland, 1944. A rare glimpse into secret societies in Latin America, 1920. An image showing an alternative method used for restraining patients in psychiatric care during the early 20th century. An emaciated former prisoner of the Buchenwald concentration camp drinks from a metal bowl shortly after the camp was liberated in April 1945. An 1865 portrait of Brigham Young, the second president of the Church of Latter-day Saints, founder of Salt Lake City, and first governor of Utah, who fathered 57 children with 56 different wives. The Jolly Rogers, the American 90th Bombardment Group, pictured in 1942. Firefighters resting in the rubble of the World Trade Center in New York, USA, on September 12, 2001. Doctors bow in reverence to 11-year-old Liang Yaoyi, who died of brain cancer. Upon his diagnosis, the boy volunteered to donate his organs, saving several lives. He told his mother he wanted to be like the wonderful people who do good deeds. Presumably, the last photograph of Adolf Hitler, taken 2 days before his death on April 28, 1945, shows him inspecting the ruins of the Reich Chancellery. Cats are seen preparing for a space flight at the Space Research Laboratory in Paris, 1963. A player enjoying a beer and a cigarette during a break at the Super Bowl final in the USA, 1967. A coffin is placed in a tree in the taiga, USSR, in 1927, demonstrating air burial, one of the oldest religious funeral rites. The execution of Amen Guth, the commandant of the Plaszow concentration camp. He was the infamous officer who entertained himself by shooting prisoners from his balcony using a sniper rifle. A soldier executes a defensive maneuver during the conflict of the Mexican Civil War in 1913. The lotus feet tradition in China lasted for a millennium, involving the breaking of young girls' bones and binding their feet to ensure they did not grow longer than 10 centimeters. A photograph from 1919 USA captures a beauty contest for men. Ben Affleck and Matt Damon calling their mothers immediately after winning the Oscar for the film Good Will Hunting, 1997. In 18th century England, rapists often walked free. If the victim did not become pregnant, the crime was considered unproven. Conversely, if she did become pregnant, the court ruled that she must have experienced pleasure, leading to the offender's acquittal. A peculiar device from 1940 that provoked horror among animal lovers. The interior of a lost and found room located at a police station in Paris, 1954. The last day of gold distribution in China, 1949, after the government had intensively seized it from the population the previous year. Out of 100,000 people, only the first 50 who bribed the police received gold. An image from 1895 London depicts an attempt to remove a patient of a psychiatric clinic from a tree. The winner of the Miss Nairobi Beauty Contest in Kenya, 1966. A 6-year-old child pictured as the champion of a pie-eating contest in 1916. An enthusiast demonstrates an experimental jet-powered scooter in 1931, clearly showing he was way ahead of the era of jet fighters and rockets. In early 1947, the USSR implemented a ban on marriages between foreigners and Soviet citizens as a measure to combat espionage. A view of the Auschwitz concentration camp following its liberation in 1945. Firefighters worked to seal off an oil well during firefighting efforts in the Kuwait oil fields in 1991. The Statue of Liberty is shown temporarily assembled in Paris, France in 1885 before its journey to America. In 1950, a journalist criticized Marilyn Monroe, claiming her beauty was due to expensive clothing. In response, she wore a potato sack and held a photo shoot. King Olaf V of Norway shows his ticket to a conductor on public transport in 1973. He traveled without a security detail, famously stating he had 4 million bodyguards, alluding to the entire population of Norway. In Poland, in 1968, a Soviet soldier is captured in the act of chasing a man who had thrown stones at a tank. A girl cuts a piece of cake in Iran in 1973, just 5 years before the Islamic Revolution that would change the country forever. A man celebrates the end of Prohibition in the USA on December 5, 1933. Viking skates, constructed from leather and horsebone, dating back to the 10th century. Robert Wadlow, the tallest man in the world at 8 feet 11 inches, is pictured in a rare courtroom photo from 1939. The first roller coasters at Coney Island in 1884 had no seatbelts, leading to mechanical failures, derailments, and deaths. A mother teaching her children in Louisiana, USA, 1937. In 1954, Russian scientist Vladimir Demikhov created a two-headed dog by transplanting one dog's head onto another. The animal survived for 1 month. During the Great Depression of the 1930s, which put millions of Americans out of work, many competitors entered grueling dance marathons, dancing for weeks or months without rest in hopes of winning money or securing food and lodging. Separate drinking fountains designated for black and white people, USA, 1956. Magician Joe Burris is lowered into a grave inside a casket as he prepares to perform a stunt. Burris tragically died after the casket collapsed under the weight of the concrete poured on top of it. A dog named Pip is shown here, who was sentenced to life imprisonment in the USA in 1924 for the crime of killing the governor's cat. This image shows the leaders of the countries participating in World War II as children. Adolf Hitler, visiting the trenches near Fonelas, where he served for 18 months during World War I as part of the Bavarian 16th Reserve Regiment. Radium mask for treating facial cancer, 1920. During the Armenian Genocide in 1915, a Turkish official is photographed taunting starving Armenian children with a piece of bread. The VW Sirocco rally crew is photographed after a successful race in Germany in 1977. A 1887 photograph features Geronimo on horseback, the leader of the Chiricahua Apache, the last tribe to resist reservation confinement. People are seen playing tennis on the wing of a flying airplane in the USA in 1925. In a nuclear test zone in Nevada in 1957, Nathaniel Morgan pulls a pig from a container. This image shows a public toilet in Paris, France, in 1875. Shocked Soviet soldiers stand near a massive pile of human ashes at the Majdanek concentration camp in 1944. A graphic, unstaged photo from 1970 Vietnam shows a victim of an American bombing being carried to an improvised operating room located in a mangrove swamp on the Kamau Peninsula. Adolf Eichmann, one of the primary organizers of the Holocaust, walks in the courtyard of his cell at Ramla Prison in Israel, 1961. In 1916, a French soldier takes a moment to write a letter during a break in the brutal battles of the Verdun meat grinder. Foreskin or death. A Pakistani soldier checks whether a man is circumcised, indicating he is not Hindu, during the Bangladesh War of Independence in 1971. Cats were already the subject of memes even in the distant 19th century. A giant sequoia, 2,600 years old, being felled in the 1890s. Injured British troops posing with German helmets they seized as trophies, France, 1916. In British Columbia in 1920, a lumberjack was seen cutting down the top of a tree while his colleagues watched from below. A beluga whale weighing 1,102 pounds caught in the Sea of Azov, 1956. One of the most powerful and terrifying photos of the Hungarian uprising depicts the execution of the defenders of the Budapest City Party Committee by rebels. The ship Queen Elizabeth, arriving at New York Harbor carrying soldiers returning from World War II, 1945. The massive gold rush at the Serra Pelada mines in Brazil, 1986. Crewmen repair the Graf Zeppelin airship mid-flight in 1934. A grim photograph from a 1975 London fair shows black people being used as targets for a game. Watching television inside a movie theater in the city of Carpi, Italy, 1956. In 1954, 19-month-old Michael wandered out of his yard, and his tiny footprints led straight to the vast, unforgiving Pacific Ocean, causing his parents' hope to quickly turn into heartbreaking despair. A little girl from the Philippines displayed at the Coney Island Zoo in 1914 among monkeys and lizards, tied with ropes while visitors threw peanuts at her. The construction of the Berlin Wall in 1961, which would become one of the most infamous symbols of the Cold War. In Saigon, Vietnam, in 1975, a Viet Cong soldier ruins a young man's Western-style haircut and cuts his shirt. Passengers are shown boarding the Titanic in 1912. Victorians loved morbid photography, and beheaded portraits featuring people holding their own severed heads were popular photo illusions in the 1800s. A dancer poses in Nevada, 1950, with an atomic explosion visible in the background. A donkey equipped for combat purposes, Turkey, 1930s. Although Ireland remained neutral in World War II, Prime Minister Eamon de Valera and President Douglas Hyde personally expressed condolences to the German ambassador on the death of Hitler. An Indian elephant utilized by German soldiers for tasks at the front during World War I, 1915. A man wears a kanga in China, 1910, a punishment for minor offenses where two boards listing crimes and punishments are attached to the neck. The offender is paraded publicly for ridicule day and night for up to 30 days. Cormorant fishing is an ancient tradition in Asia where a ring is placed on the bird's neck to prevent it from swallowing large fish. The cormorant brings the large catch to the owner, who rewards the bird with a small fish. A wedding ceremony taking place in London in 1941 inside a church that had been destroyed by German shelling. Japanese children gather for a farewell ceremony in 1945 before being evacuated from Tokyo to the countryside to escape U.S. air raids. An invention from 1930 designed for washing and massaging breasts was also supposed to improve firmness, and working models can still be found on eBay today.
Did this make you happy or maybe a little mad? Let me know your thoughts below. Stay tuned for the next exciting part. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Bye.